Let's get started.
So just a reminder, self-care, drinks, food, items, whatever you need to have around you, tissue paper to take care of yourself, all right, folks? Make sure you keep that as a top priority for yourself.
Welcome everyone to our June meetup. Our environment right now is surrounded by celebrations. And I'm saying this to honor the history of these celebrations that now feel like celebrations, but they came from a fight of freedom. So welcome to our meetup, Parade Your Pride. There are a few very special occasions on our radar at the moment. We're smack dab in the middle of Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. And we're 2 days away. We're 2 days past Loving Day and the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City. For those of you, if you know, you know. And we're 5 days before Juneteenth. And so there's something really special about these events. And there's something similarly special about all of the people here in our community that come to our space. And it's the same really special reason that our company exists in the first place, which is duality and multiplicity. The intersectionality of a person's identity or of a community's identity, knowing that multiple parts can exist together at once. We can coexist, and multiple parts can coexist within a group. And so we asked ourselves, like, what's special about parades, and why do parades feel so expressive? And it's because they bring community together, and they make us feel seen, and they allow ourselves to be ourselves in a group, to be loud and proud and joyful, and to fight back, and to really grow stronger from the energy that we can have together in a group like this. And there's a huge history of a period of time when people couldn't be themselves. There's still many countries around the world where parts of ourselves are made to be illegal. And that's one of the reasons why parades are so special. It's because that's where this duality comes in. The history of oppression and the fight for freedom coexist. So we have pride and oppression. We have pride and the bravery to celebrate who we are. We have Juneteenth and the continued fight for freedom. And we're here today to encourage ourselves to feel the empowerment of these celebrations and to have a special corner of the virtual world where we can come together and continue to fight for our inner freedom, because we are the change that we want to see. And this is a space for personal development and for self-development. And not everyone wants to be able to go out there and be in a crowd of 1,000 people. Not everyone has access to local parades. Not everyone is physically able to access parades, but here in this virtual space, we can make it our own, and we can practice showing up in our full selves, just in our little corner of the world, and being proud together. So I'm offering you to really take a second and to be here, and to know that we see you, and we're here in the space together. We've encouraged all of you to bring outfits and photos or tangible items to illustrate your pride as we parade around our Zoom space today and give everyone a chance to share.
This is one of the things that I brought into the space today because it makes me really proud of who I am, and it helps continue ground me in a tradition that is beautiful, which is this kind of like printmaking and stuff like that. And it really reminds me of my grandma, my late grandmother, who's no longer here. So this is one of the things that I thought I would parade today, is this shirt that I got for all the things that it means to me.
I'm so happy to be here with beautiful, beautiful human beings. I just navigate this society as an indigenous two-spirit human being, and to me that's worth celebrating, you know, and being around people that you know, just kind of appreciate it all.
I'm going to be proud, and I don't want this to be an advertisement. It's just because I need a space to be able to celebrate with you all this too. I finished my book. I was able to get that out recently. I did an audiobook for it. Like, oh my God, so much work. And like, I'm really proud of having been able to share my story this way. And it wasn't just something that other people could read, but this was like half of it was a journey for me too, to be able to understand myself better. And specifically, I focused on my racial identity, but when I got through the book, at the end of it, just like my gender identity hit me as well. That wasn't planned, but that sort of happened too. And so, yeah, I'm just very happy to be here as so much more of myself than I was able to be when I was younger.
I picked this book that I started reading last week. It's called City of Dispossessions, Indigenous Peoples, African Americans in the Creation of Modern Detroit by Kyle T. Mays, who is, like myself, mixed race, including Black and Native from different tribes in North America, what we now call North America. So I really have enjoyed what I've read so far, and I would just invite you all to read some of the works by this author in the future if you so choose. I picked this because it really highlights specific intersections of my identity that I've been kind of delving into more so in the last few years. And so I'm very prideful when it comes to kind of exploring that more so. So yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to share. Thanks for letting me take up a moment of space with you all, and excited to hear more from you all.
My item that I have with me is this wooden cat here. This was a gift given to me by my late best friend in high school. She was actually, ironically, one of the first Asian people I had ever become friends with. And she immigrated here from Vietnam. And she taught me a lot about my own culture, which is Filipino. And she helped me embrace my true identity. And I would say my friendship with her is what kind of launched me into the direction that I have gone to this very day. So, and I also love cats, so.
I will share a little bit about mine here. So I'll go far back here. And this textile hanging on the wall in the background, that is not part of my virtual background. That is an actual textile. And it's actually a handmade Mayan wall rug from a Mayan women's collective in Oaxaca, Mexico. And the reason why this is important to me, and I've had it for so long, I've had this thing since my mid-20s, so like two decades I've had it. This rug I picked up in Oaxaca after having visited Chiapas, Mexico, because in the early and mid 90s, or throughout the 90s, I used to visit the Zapatista communities in southern Mexico in the state of Chiapas. Those are autonomous Mayan communities that in 1994, when there was a certain president in the United States who made a deal with Canada and Mexico, and they passed a new series of economic laws called the North American Free Trade Agreement. And for the Maya of the Lancandon jungle area, the original inhabitants of that area, they considered that a death sentence to their way of life, because it was going to remove them from their land. So they literally took up arms, trained themselves in the jungle, took up arms, and declared war against the Mexican government. And they still exist to this day, and they are still at war with the Mexican government, although it's what's called a soft war. And they still exist there. And those Mayan people in Oaxaca, I visited that collective that I told you about, and this is where I bought that thing, probably for like $20 if I remember correctly. Around like 250 pesos at that time in the 90s, but you know, you had $200 in Mexico at that time, you were doing pretty good. And so that's where I got that. So it's been with me all these years.
My items are my doll and a pick. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people who do not know what this item is. It's meant for picking hair like this, and it makes it easier because I told people when people have really thick hair, you need long teeth, and they need to be spread out from one another. if you use a regular comb on hair like this, you are going to rip it out from the root. It's going to hurt like hell. And it is not the right tool for thick, kinky hair. So this is a very specific tool for a very specific reason. And a lot of them usually have the black power fist at the end. Anyone who's seen 70s movies, like, they're used to that. People can, look at this. You can just, like, because it's like a bush. I told people I can hide quarters in my hair. I really mean that. Like, if I just stick them in there, I could put a whole lot of things in here and hide stuff. And, like, it's pretty funny. But, like, I can. And it drives me nuts because I'll meet people who have curly, loose hair, and I'll be like, yeah, I have curly hair problems too. I'm like, all right, put a pencil in your hair and hang upside down. If the pencil comes out, then you don't know what I'm going through. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that there is a difference between curly hair and thick, coarse hair. And I kind of get annoyed that people have just curly hair. Yes, you have problems, but if you can't put stuff in the curls and it stays there locked, it's not the same. Like, we're not talking about the same thing. So like hair is a big part of identity for Black people especially, and it's definitely something that is difficult pride-wise for Black women because we have shrinkage. So my hair is actually longer than it appears. If I picked it out, it'd be longer. But because of shrinkage, the coil like curls very tight, and so it gives a short appearance. And since Eurocentric perceptions of beauty revolve around long, straight hair, a lot of Black women have the complete opposite, and that's why we tend to struggle with identity. And our hair is a huge cultural part of our identity as a person. So God forbid you're bald, you have alopecia as a Black woman. There's a lot of question of who am I? Am I beautiful? Am I feminine? A lot of our identity is tied to our hair. A lot of it.
If we don't have an item or a physical, tangible thing that made us proud, I've been really into hearing stories from my friends. If anyone feels called to share a story of a moment where they were proud of themselves for something that they did most recently, or an instant where they stood up for themselves, or an identity finding moment, raise your hand, drop it into the chat. I'm into this story sharing.
Well, let's see where to begin. There's a lot to be proud of, especially this month, Pride Month. So I'll just start with, I'm Eva, I use no nouns. So essentially for those that don't know what no nouns is, I identify as Eva and not my gender. I feel like a lot of times we have a lot of pressure to fit a box. And if we don't fit the box, even if we identify within a box, I just don't need that pressure. I'm just gonna do me. So I'm at work currently. And one thing I'm really proud of is my baby, that I could bring him to work. He's asleep right now. He's, he does the most. And then I'm proud of my job. I'm really proud of the work I get to do. I work for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I started essentially here in Arizona. I'm in Arizona. I started our first LGBT mentorship program. So Big Brothers Big Sisters is trying to roll out nationwide this year, and just let everyone in the nation know that our mentorship program is inclusive to all genders and identities and expressions. And to be a part of that is amazing. Like, I can't even express how grateful I get to be a part of this conversation. As we all know, growing up for some of us sucks. It was hard, it was challenging. So finding a trusting adult in a person's life really does make a world of difference. I'm a mentor to a little girl with trans experience, and she has grown so much, and I've gotten to see her evolve into such a beautiful, smart little girl. Now young lady, she's 15 years old, 15, 16. So that's, a lot to be proud of.
I appreciate the just my name thing, because it would be so easy if people would address each other by their names first, right? That's really your first, usually the first thing you share with someone is I'm so-and-so, you know? Yeah, so I appreciate that because
but then there's still so much power in your name. And I feel like there's a difference between your chosen name and your given name. And I feel like a lot of us who have accepted our given names have to find an identity around that name that we had no say in, versus if you choose your name and you can change your name, I feel like there's more power. Like, no, this is who I am, this is my identity.
For me this month, I think I am super proud of myself for the fact that my professor from college, who I helped do research with specifically about drag queens in Atlantic City and the Miss America competitions, which was then published in a book, she started an organization for the greater Atlantic City region for LGBTQIA+ youth. And my boss is amazing, even though some of the area that we're in is kind of like hostile to the community. And she made products, 100% supported us fundraising for that organization. It's brand new, and we were able to fundraise over $1,000 within like a week. And so I'm super happy, super proud. I'm so lucky that I have a supportive like workplace and staff, something I've never gotten to have before. And also of all of the baby gays I basically take care of too. I take in a lot of strays, and I have a lot of people that I'm friends with, but also that I am like, no, I'm not gonna leave you alone, because I remember how it was even 10 years ago where it was a struggle. So I guess I'm also proud of myself and of them for how much I've seen everyone grow and for just being able to help out a little bit.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing.
I understand how important it is to have affinity groups and to be in spaces that feel separate and specific to one part of our identity. And yet I also crave spaces in which we can be all of ourselves, like our full self. So why do we need to have all these different compartmentalized spaces if we were able to bring our full self into more group public spaces?
Also, I wanted to add that as someone who's an in-betweener, somewhere on the spectrum of sexuality, it's not that I want to keep separating us as a community into different factions, but unfortunately, there's also this issue of people who are on the end of the spectrum, fully straight or fully gay, and then binary trans versus non-binary trans. And then, bisexual versus, it's just like when you're in between somewhere, there can be discrimination from both sides, and that can feel really, really isolating. So I'm not saying we need to have an in-between pride. I'm just saying, like, I feel like the people in between get left out a lot, like even the homo flexible, hetero flexible, like just you're not all the way on the ends. That's, that is a sentiment that I feel, and that is a bit frustrating. Like, I wish that in-betweeners had a space for in-between experience, because it is different.
That's what we do here, just to let you know.
Make
You're
space.
not-
They got to make space.